The most interesting thing about this market is when you land, you cannot walk into anyone's business and get a job.
Were you able to use your qualifications that you brought with you to apply for any jobs here?
The first time I got my work authorization, I wanted to go into like a diner and just get a job, even if it's cleaning utensils. And they told me, we are sorry, you are too qualified.
You're overqualified?
You are overqualified, we can't give you a job. Carry your resignation letter from whichever place you're from.
Hey guys, this is Elle and Nick. Welcome back to our channel. And today we have a guest, Mr. Nick himself. And there's a little one down here too who's playing. Today we wanted to talk about how his journey has been moving from corporate Kenya to corporate America. A lot of you are interested in, coming to America and working here, and even people that are here would be interested in knowing something about corporate America. So we just wanted to do a short interview with him and find out how his journey has been, how the transition has been since being in Kenya and now working here. He's currently in his second job, but we're just going to concentrate on his first job, how he landed his first corporate job in America. So, are you ready? Welcome to the show. We're very happy to have you here.
Oh, thank you, Elle and Nick. I'm actually very happy to be in your channel. Anyway, I'm actually very happy to be here because I feel like I need to expound more on what it's been like to transition from Kenya to the US.
And we're just gonna get right into it. So for a bit of background, would you let us know what you were doing back home in Kenya, if you are in the formal or informal sector, how your experience was with work in Kenya?
Back in Kenya, I was working for a bank, so I was in the corporate side of the job sector, and I was there for 6 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so for 6 years I did different roles. I'm an IT professional. I started from the help desk role and moved up. I think by the time I was leaving, I was in a good position that I can call a more experienced position, where I was dealing with applications. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so, how did you leave that job?
I left it because I was coming. I was coming to the US, and that was back in 2020, just before the pandemic.
Okay.
So that's when I left. I left actually the month that we had curfew.
Oh, okay. Okay. Any regrets?
Regrets? Are you asking me of maybe the bad options, or not really options, but the bad experiences I had?
I mean, I can ask that. Did you have what was your experience in general, good or bad,
while working in Kenya?
While working in the corporate world in Kenya?
Well, the corporate world in Kenya is very, can I call it, it's a tight market. Like we have just enough jobs for just enough people. That's why we have people who are graduating from campuses not really being absorbed into the corporate world.
Oh, okay.
And people are opting to either doing their own businesses, being entrepreneurs, and there's a segment of the Kenyan corporate market that is really good for anyone who is in the corporate world, especially if you're skilled and you're specialized in your craft. For instance, if you're in IT, like I am, and you are very good in a specific specialized field, it's a very lucrative market because Kenya is growing technologically. So yeah, it's a very good market. So according to me, I feel like it's a good market based on my experience, because I was in the corporate world for 6 years.
Okay. And would you say it was easy for you to get that job after, let's say, you finished school? Was it hard, or was it easy in your experience to find that job?
I think I applied around November of a particular year, and then I was called in April. That's when I got the job.
Oh, for the interview?
Yeah, the interview was in March, and I started in April.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't, I can't say that it was easy getting a job. That's a lie. If for me, someone else, maybe it may be easy for them, but for me, no.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was easy.
Was it your first job? Was it the job that you thought you would get after school, or did you have to go through a few other jobs to land this one?
Because now that's back in Kenya.
Yeah.
So I had this job. I can call it, I don't know if it qualifies to be a job, but I had a job that I had for around 3 months. But it wasn't really official compared to the one I had. So I can say, if I count the jobs that I had, like that gave me real experience, is this is the one, the one that I was in before I came here.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Looks like you had quite the experience before you came here, so that's amazing. And so you left the job in preparation of coming to the US. You knew you were going to be moving to the US and you would be living here and working here. So how did you prepare for your transition?
First of all the preparations you make, or maybe as a person who's wants to transition from Kenya into the US or any other country, sometimes the plans you you may have may change or may be changed by circumstances. So I thought I had everything until I looked at the transcripts that I used to have back in campus. So when I went through them, I found out that I didn't have all the transcripts. So I wanted to transition to the US with and do exactly what I used to do, or mostly something in the field that I was working on. So the first thing I did, I had my documents right, and made sure I had all my transcripts, my certificates, made sure I had, there's something they did, sorry, I'm actually forgetting, what is it called? So there's a process that usually you have to go through as a student or a person who's transitioning from one country to another, where they verify your documents.
You're talking about when you come to the US?
Yeah, when I'm coming to the... what was your question?
I thought you were talking about like verifying your transcripts in Kenya. I thought like getting...
that process, I actually, it's called just verifying.
I like getting them from the university. I don't know, it's just getting your official transcript.
Yeah, so I had to first get all my transcripts in order. So I found out I didn't have some. I had to follow up. COVID came through, stopped me on my tracks, then went back. Just when it opened, I had like a month to travel. Was it a month or a week? Yeah, so I was following up with my school. So the first thing I can tell anyone is make sure you have all your transcripts and make sure they are verified. There's a way they verify and they seal it, and the transcripts that you have are actually authentic to be used by any other organization that is going to employ you.
We can talk about the transcripts since we're in the topic. So once you attained your official transcripts from your university, you had to bring them while they were still sealed, is what you were saying, right?
Yes.
And then when you got here is when you applied with the World Education Services, or?
Yeah, so when I got from Kenya, everything went fine because I got all my transcripts and they were the official documents, because you have to make sure they are the same copy that the university has is the one that you will travel with. And make sure that everything that you have that pertains education is good, like your high school certificates, maybe primary school certificates, because interestingly one of the jobs here asked for that all the way back. And just make sure everything is right.
Okay. So then you made sure you have all your education documents that you needed, and then you came to the US and you landed, right? And then what happened?
So my friends, so when you land in the US, the most interesting bit is, first of all, you don't know anything. Most of these companies, apart from the ones which are known from all the way like worldwide, you don't know any of these companies. You don't know how companies work here, how the hiring process is, what requirements they also have, because this is a different market. So I came here, first of all, I had to get my documents right.
Right.
So got all the official documents I needed.
What do you mean by you have to get your documents right?
For instance, you have to get your work authorization, you have to get your social security number, and all those things are tied to whichever visa you come in with, right? So once you come in, check your visa status, see what other steps are required now that you land in the US to move you to the next level. What requirements, what documents, what is the process that you need, for instance, to apply for a social security card. So you go through it, all these processes are online, you can check. You apply for social security, you apply for work authorization, then you wait. The most interesting thing about this market is when you land, you cannot walk into anyone's business and get a job. So you have to wait for the process.
Okay. So you waited your fair share of time that you had to do, and now you have your work authorization in hand. You're free to work in the US. What kind of considerations did you make when you were trying to figure out your job situation?
First of all, you are humbled by the time you took to wait for your documents. For me, it took more than a year. Thanks to the pandemic that was going on, and hence almost all services that were government related were delayed. So you were actually told, oh, these and these won't be available until a particular date, just keep checking. So this time humbles you, and you are now open, your mind opens up, and you're ready for any type of work.
So what kinds of jobs did you consider?
Any? To be honest,
you are ready to do
the first time I got my work authorization, I wanted to go into like a diner and just get a job, even if it's cleaning utensils. Let me tell you, if you've been working in corporate Kenya or whichever corporate market, whichever part of the world it is, when you come and you're just in the house and there's nothing much you can do, it makes you very hungry for any type of work, so that you can actually put food on your table. You can contribute into this the whole expensive American life. Because not like Kenya you can survive with either your parents or your friends or even your family members, and they'll comfortably take you in, and maybe the expenses you'll have will be very minimized, because some of the produces we get them locally in the market. But here it's very different. Hence, when one person is footing the bill, it's very hard on them. It takes a toll on them. So when you are out there and you have a work authorization, you want to do any job. When you walk around and you see someone say maybe something written, jobs available or now hiring, you just want to walk in and take it without even thinking of the career that you are in.
Okay. So then take us through, that moment when you are ready for any job, and the moment that you actually landed a job. And we can do this I still have a few questions in there. Were you able to use your qualifications that you brought with you to apply for any jobs here?
Okay, yes. So I brought my documents, and I made sure that I had something that shows that I worked in a particular place. For instance, the bank that I worked in. So I just made sure I had something to back me up, like either the resignation letter, which is very important. By the way, carry your resignation letter from whichever place you're from. So I made sure I had that.
So don't just leave?
No.
Okay.
Don't leave your current workplace if you're coming to the US and hope that you'll just walk in and say, oh, I worked in this place in Kenya. No, it's very important that you carry your resignation letter or something that authenticates that you worked for a company. For instance, it's called service letter or something. There's a company that asks for a service letter where you are supposed to say, a company is supposed to verify and say, this person, name this, ID this, or passport number this, worked for us for a period of 4 years. During his time, he was blah, 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 and we verify that he has worked for us. And they put a stamp.
Wow.
Very important.
Wow.
I never knew that when I was coming, but I had my resignation letter. Interestingly, I didn't carry my resignation letter, but I had a picture of it. So I took a picture the day that I got it, and they had accepted my resignation. So both the letter that I wrote to the company and the one they wrote back saying they accepted my resignation. So I took both of them. So that is what saved me, and I was able to get my second job. But now we are talking about my first job. Okay. The first job just required me to submit my certificates. So I have certificates from some of the IT companies like Microsoft that I did, which came in handy, and I had also a CCNA certificate that really helped during that time. That together with my work experience showing that I resigned at some place also really helped.
Oh, okay. And also your degree, right?
Sorry. My degree. So
what's your degree in?
In information technology.
What is it? Is it a bachelor's?
So it's a bachelor's in information technology. So I have both bachelor's and I have a diploma in IT. So I have both.
Okay.
And here they actually consider, they look at a diploma as a qualifying certification for any corporate work. Yeah.
So that's good. So you would say that those qualifications, your schooling, your experience, your extra certifications that you did back in Kenya, would you say that they helped you get your first job?
Yes. Actually, I think there's a notion going around maybe that whatever you do in Kenya, when you come here, it's nothing. If you are an IT professional, it's nothing. I've actually had someone say that on a video or in a video, and I was surprised because most of these, some of these jobs, they actually cross from, like, how do I put it? For instance, IT is international. Like IT, whichever part of the world is IT.
Yeah.
So if you know how to configure routers, you can still configure a router in Philippines, in US, in Germany, in Kenya. You can still configure the same router, or even whatever, like if it's crimping cables, you can crimp them and they still work.
Yeah, so if you can crimp them, you can crimp them anywhere. What is crimping?
Crimping? No, it's like the network cables when you have the RJ45 and you put with a maybe cat 6 cable, when you connect them together, and that's what you use to connect your computers to maybe. Okay, so like what I'm saying is, even if you, same thing with nurses. When you come in as a nurse from Kenya, there's maybe 1 or 2 certifications you need to do, then you transition into this market. Same to the US, like IT. But I was lucky during when I applied for my first job. I really didn't do a lot of, how do you call it, like any kind of exam. They just interviewed me on things that I've done before in IT.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many jobs did you apply for before you actually... and how many jobs did you apply for, and how many interviews did you do before you landed your job?
Wow. Wait. Let me tell you, the moment I got my work authorization, I had started applying. Like days before, because you can feel it, you just know it's coming. And when you check the site, it actually tells you that they've sent it, so you know it's on the way. I just made sure that I applied to as many jobs as possible, because here we had a lot of interesting bit about this market is there are a lot of jobs. You just have to find the one that suits the skills you have. So I applied to so many jobs. I've just remembered. I applied even for a warehouse job.
Oh, yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
So I applied for this warehouse job, and they didn't respond, and I looked at the map and saw it was like 5 minutes away from where we lived. Drove there, went into the HR office, and told them I had applied, but no one responded. So they asked me, do you have your CV, your, what they call here, your resume? I gave it to them. They looked at it, for 5 minutes, and they told me, we are sorry, you are too qualified.
You're overqualified.
You're overqualified. We can't give you a job. I couldn't believe it. I didn't have a job, got into a HR office. They have open positions, but they didn't offer it to me because they felt like since I'm overqualified, I can get a better job. And that really changed everything for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you learn from that?
It made me realize that I shouldn't like shoot my shot so low.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, then let me shoot it high. So I looked for an IT. To be honest, I looked for an IT support job to start with because I felt like it will be the first. I really wanted to just understand the most basic, like how do you call it, IT situation in the US and feel how it feels like.
How it feels like to work here in the US.
Yes.
IT.
Yeah. So I said I'll do support, though. In Kenya, back in Kenya, I wasn't in support. I was in support. I was more in application support, but not desktop support. So I looked for desktop support because it was coming in my timeline. So because I looked for at this site called Indeed.
Indeed.com.
Yeah. So there's a site called Indeed.com that I looked at, and I felt like these jobs were like available. There were so many everywhere. Please remember, during this time, we still had restrictions and masking and social distancing during the COVID period. We still had COVID when I got my work authorization. So I was very careful which jobs I would get that would not maybe put us at risk. And I needed a job that's not very far from where I stayed.
Right. Because
again, I was also getting used to driving in the US. Because here you have to learn how to drive all over, like the whole valley. So currently we're in Arizona. So you have, the valley is so wide, and these jobs, sometimes they can be so far apart. Yeah, so that's what I did. I looked for an IT support job. I did a lot of interviews. Online interviews. There were so many, to be honest.
Yeah. And so mostly you are doing them virtually, or did you have to go to a physical location for an interview?
All of them were virtual. And that was because we had COVID and no one wanted to like have candidates coming in for like in-person interviews because of risk of spreading the virus.
Right.
So I did most of them via WebEx and some, like, I don't know, I can't remember. Yeah, Zoom.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what would you say was different for you interviewing for a job in Kenya versus interviewing for a job in the USA?
I feel like in Kenya, I used to send a lot of CVs or resumes and got no response. But here, almost, let's say 7 out of 10 responded, whether they said maybe the position has already been filled up, or they're not taking in any more candidates, or they don't wish to proceed based on maybe the fact that they see you don't have any experience. Actually, I think that was the biggest setback. The fact that they couldn't see any experience within the US. And the fact that I had stayed for a whole year and other candidates were applying and they showed that they had worked maybe 2 months ago, and some of them were currently working somewhere else. It actually was a disadvantage to me.
Yeah, actually, your gap was like a year and a half since you had left your previous job.
Yeah.
6 months before coming here, and then it took a year
Yes.
to get your...
So every job I used to write, I used to have a cover letter explaining why there's a gap in my resume, so that they don't ask those questions and disqualify me. After I realized that they were not taking me in because they felt like I was out of the market for so long. So I had to keep on sending a cover letter just to tell them why I have the gap in my CV.
Do you think that helped?
Yeah, I think it did, because I got some interviews. I got into many interviews, and yes, I didn't qualify in some according to reasons that are based on the people who are recruiting. And I did first interviews, second interviews. Then they said, "We are sorry, we cannot proceed with your application." So it was different, but I kept on applying since I said, okay, well, I'm not getting the jobs, but I'm getting the experience of interviewing here in the US.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So also, just to add, the other difference was I felt like interviews here are very different in terms of how they make you feel. I don't know if it's because it was virtual, but they made me feel like it was so relaxed.
Oh, really?
It didn't feel like I had to, how do you call it? Like I had to be so formal. Like the way I'm wearing this was okay, but in Kenya I had to wear a tie. So they could tell you, no, it's fine, you don't need to wear anything formal, because I think maybe people are working from home. So it was pretty chilled. So that's what I liked. And even the people who are interviewing, they made you feel like you need not to worry about anything. We are okay. We are just fine. We just want to know you. And most of the first interviews were not really technical. They were like, oh, so what have you done before? Like, what would you say you would do if you're put in such a situation? It was just easy going.
And then, so you mentioned first interview. So does that mean there was second interview?
Yeah. Like I said, I had first and second interviews in some jobs, but some I didn't get. But I applied to one after this experience of talking to people, and they actually liked me.
So what's in the second interview?
What do you mean?
Like, what do they ask during the second interview? You said the first interview, they just want to get to know you. And what do they ask in the second interview?
So in the second interview, mostly it's a bit technical. But the technicality to me, since I was applying a desktop support job, was just asking you what's a virus, what would you do if someone says they can't access their email. So I felt like those were questions that I had tackled before. Actually, I had experience in doing it. So it was easy for me. I gave them multiple options and they liked it.
So the first interview is just basically getting to know you, like as a person, like how what your qualifications are and things like that. And then the second interview is more technical about what you will need to know for the job. Would you say?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And then, so after your various interviews that you did, how did you find out that you got a job?
Yeah. So this was I don't know even how to say it, but it felt so quick. It was the quickest turnaround from the first time when I had the first interview and the time that they gave me the offer letter. So
how long was that?
I had the first interview like a day like today, then the next interview was like in 2 days. Then they told me, okay, this interview will be at 2 p.m. Just make sure this is the link. You will be required maybe to have your camera on and dress formally. So they told me, they gave me instructions on how I should appear. So went into the interview, and it was like 3 people. One had the camera, 2 had the camera on, 1 had the camera off. And I wasn't sure who that other person was. So this was my second interview. Went into the interview, so one person made me feel very comfortable and started talking about my country. They've seen you're from Kenya, and they wanted to know how Kenya is. What are the differences that I've felt since I came? And I was like, wait, is this an interview or what? So I felt like these were my friends. Or people who have called randomly and they just want to know about Kenya. And I told them so much about my country and they liked it, and they were so open-minded. I really liked them. Honestly, they were so open-minded and they were so into traditions like in Africa. So it went on and got technical, and I answered those questions. They were very easy in terms of the way they talked to me. I didn't feel like it's very official. Why are you like, what is this or this? What is this? Why are you saying this? Like, it was very easy. It gave me time to think about my answers, and
Oh, very good. And then
they told me they liked me, and they said someone will contact me.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, did you get that information during the interview?
No.
Okay.
They said that oh, we like what we've heard from you, and we'll be in touch. Oh, someone will be in touch. And we hung up, and I felt like it was a good interview. By the time I was checking, it was like 45 minutes in. So the recruiter called me and told me the guys liked me and they are giving me an offer. And I got my offer letter the same day, in a couple of hours.
Oh.
I'm the one who's supposed to celebrate. So I got the job.
Yeah, there you go.
So that was my first offer. I had never seen even how an offer letter looks like. So got it. It was all like in soft copy, and you had to get into the system. They got me some credentials, did all the signing in, and you choose your benefits and such like, and gave me a start date. So I had to have like a 2-week period where they were like expecting, how do you put it? They assume that you have another job and therefore you need to give them a 14-day notice. So here in the US, the notice is 14 days. In Kenya, it's a month. So I found it very different. But anyway, it was good for me because I felt that was half the wait. Waited. Then my first time to go to the job now came. So drove into that area. I got lost first because I felt that place looked very deserted because we still had the COVID restriction. No one was working from the office except our staff.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so would you say that the offer you would you say that the offer you got was what you expected in terms of pay?
Let me tell you, like I said, I was very hungry for any type of work. But when I got back into the industry that I was in Kenya, I felt like it was a stepping stone. It was an okay pay according to me, because I just looked at the difference. I'm coming from zero to this amount that they gave me.
Yeah.
So it was a good amount, which I felt like was okay for me, and I took it. Okay. So walked into the workplace. It was pretty deserted, not like what I was used to. The building was huge, yes, and the people were so warm and welcoming, and I felt like they made me feel like family, which is what you need as your first stepping stone, because this is the first impression you get of any place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what kind of a company was it?
It was an IT company, a contracting company. So I was contracted by a company to work in another company.
Right. So like an agency?
Yes. And it was good because it's an easy way to get into the market. And it was in a program that was enabling users who are working from home to get all the devices they needed. So that's where I got in. So started with doing some support work where you get the requirements that users need, and you make sure that whatever they need is what they get at home. So for instance, if you needed a monitor, if you needed a keyboard, if you needed something to do with the cables that enable you to connect to whatever device you are using, so that's what I was using. I was doing. Sorry.
Oh, that was your job. Okay. And how was your experience working in America as compared to working in Kenya? Now that you worked that job, how can you compare it to working in Kenya?
Oh my goodness, very less stressful. That's what I can say.
Yeah.
In Kenya, I felt like my work was very stressful, and there was no work-life balance, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I'm talking about my work.
Right. Yeah.
So back in Kenya, I didn't have like a work-life balance. I used to have a lot of working extra hours that you are not getting paid. So there's a clause that the Kenyan employer usually has that says you're supposed to do 40 hours a week, and any other job assigned to you by your immediate supervisor. That clause should be removed. That's what I can say. Because any other work may require you to work maybe over the weekends, over holidays, over periods that you're supposed to be with your family, and that messes up your work-life balance.
Yeah.
So compared to the US, I felt like number one. So if it's 8 to 5, you're working 8 to 5, and most of the times it used to be like some minutes to 5, I'm out, which never used to be the case in Kenya. So that's one of the differences, like the time, the stressful nature. I felt like this job to me was less stressful compared to the one I had, and in terms of pay, well, I can't really say it's because those are two different markets, but to me it was an okay pay compared to like what I can keep back after all my expenses. It was an okay job.
Okay. So did it compare like with your comparing with your pay in Kenya? Was it equivalent? Considering the lifestyle, or was it more, a little bit more, or a little bit less, or
it was
compared to also the work that you were doing, because you said
no. If you put in the comparison of the work, I feel like the workload here in the US was less. The pay was, after expenses, was better, and the commute was even better because I used to do like 22 minutes and I'm home. In Kenya, my friend, sometimes it depends on which government office had a meeting along your route. If, for instance, there was an official meeting somewhere in a hotel and it's on your route and the president is there, count an hour plus on the road.
Wow.
So in terms of work, even the people, I feel like the people where I worked were very like a family. I felt more like a family.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. So what I'm getting in general is you comparing your experiences. Your first job experience was really good.
Here in the US? Yes. It was really good, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this just to please the viewers or to make people feel like I had a good experience, and I didn't. I had a very good experience with the people I worked with, and later on maybe I'll explain later in another part series, but it was really, really good.
Okay, that's good. That's amazing. So I think you've answered all of my questions. You've been really good. We've learned quite a lot. I have learned a lot. I'm sure you have learned a lot too. If you have any questions, any further questions, you can feel free to leave it in the comment section below. And as you can see, Nick here is very forthcoming with information, and we will continue to talk about this. So we will do another episode now talking about your second corporate job and what you're doing, which is what you're doing now, right? Yeah. So we'll save that for another episode, since as you guys can see, someone here is wanting our attention. So ouch.
Yeah, so guys, we will leave you at this point and say like the video. I hope you find this video very informative.
Yes.
Which is what we are trying to do in every video that we do going forward, trying to give you information about the US, and if you are willing to, if you want to transition from Kenya into the US, if you have any questions, like she said, put those questions in the comment section.
Yeah, let us know, and we'll continue to give you guys great content like this. Okay?
Yep.
Say bye.
Say bye.
Hey, Elena.
Now she's not even interested.
Elena.
Until we start talking.
I know. Say hi to the people. Say hi. Say hello. Look, who's this?
Anyway, guys, see you in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe,
and share this video with someone who you think can benefit from this information, and it will have helped us greatly. Thank you.
Peace.